everyone. Today we're going to see the top 5 strategies for maximum productivity in 2020. It's not going to be the usual advice about getting up early in the morning, having a clean diet, exercising and planning your day. I'm sure all these helps for maximum productivity. However, I strongly feel it's more to do with changing up the mindset, and that is why my focus, based on my research on most of the successful people in today's digital world, are successful because of these 5 top priorities. So let's get started. I love to use acronyms to remember and retain information. I used it throughout my life when I was a student. So today the acronym for the top 5 priorities is SUPER. So S stands for self-audit or self-check. U stands for understanding your potential. P stands for prioritizing things and activities. E stands for empathy and kindness. And R stands for reaching out and seeking help. So we're going to do each of these in greater detail, because once you tend to practice all of these, or at least become aware and understand each of these, it'll definitely help you in this modern age. So this is more to do with millennials and the younger generation of the digital world. I emphasize the word digital because we get distracted with heaps of technology, and everybody tends to compare, and everybody tries to live an insta-good life, which is practically not possible. So that is the reason I stress on the world, digital world, or the recent times. All right, so the first one, let's check about self-audit or self-check. I'm not going to use the word self-realization because most of the times you would have seen me emphasizing the usage of words, or the power of words that we use in day-to-day life with ourselves. When we write something or when we communicate with our children, it's very important to use the right words. Words carry emotions, words convey the meaning in the right sense and sets the tone for a conversation. If I'm going to say you should have a realization, which means you've done something wrong, so I want you to sit and think about it. So if I'm just going to say do a self-audit or a self-check, it does not give a negative perspective or a doubtful perspective. So there is no room for self-doubt. Self-doubt is the worst enemy that one can encounter, which can drag you down, which can limit your productivity. So self-check or self-audit is more about realizing and setting up realistic goals that you can attain with your current strengths, your resources that you have access to, or the resources that you can attain. I can't think of signing up for a course, say Russell Brunson's The Inner Circle of say 50 grand, $50,000 or $60,000, whatever that amount is. So I cannot set unrealistic goals now. Of course, it can be my affirmation that will help me to do that, or join Russell Brunson's Inner Circle in some time, but that cannot be my goal that I set for 1 year or 1 month. Okay, so that is the main concept of self-audit and self-check, where you realize your potentials, your resources that you have access to or that you can afford. And the second point is understanding your potential. So these two go hand in hand. The first point of self-audit and understanding your potential are kind of together. So it is more to do with the stuff that you have as a positive asset that you want to really work on. So I know I can talk. That's something that I can do, but I've never started, or probably I was intimidated and procrastinating to start a YouTube channel. But once I broke that barrier, here I am doing YouTube videos frequently. So I think that understanding the potential and breaking that barriers, whatever you have. So we have to write down the questions called what are the potentials that I've got, what is limiting me in attaining my goal using these particular potentials. So understanding your potential is very, very significant for productivity. And the third one is prioritizing. So we all tend to do so much and get cluttered and get distracted with lots of stuff that we aim to do, especially as women. We have so much of thought process going on at any given point of time in our life. So we tend to get lost and not do anything. So it's more like jack of all trades, master of none. That's how most of us land in these days. You tend to start something and then you get a message, you get an email, and then your focus diverts. And then suddenly you think about something, you go there. So this is how my life has been in most of the cases. And then I started implementing the Pomodoro technique, which is the 20-minute mark. So the maximum you can focus is 20 minutes. We tend to push ourselves beyond that, and that's when we get distracted. So I put my mobile on silent or literally turn it to flight mode and then set the timer to 20 minutes, work on one task for 20 minutes without distraction, then take a break and then work on 20 minutes. Try doing this simple technique. I'm sure you will have great success. If you had success, please drop a comment and let me know whether it was helpful for you. And the fourth very important point for today's generation is empathy and kindness. We all tend to be I have done this, I've been there before when I really couldn't lose weight, and I used to be hard on myself. I used to do all possible crash diets, I used to do so much, and then I realized this is how my body works, and you either tend to accept it as what it is and tend to love yourself for what you are, or you take baby steps. So my thing is both. So I am taking baby steps and I have learned to be gentle and kind to myself. This is very important. Empathy is a very, I would say, overlooked word. So people tend to be judgmental just because they can't put themselves in their shoes. Try to do that. So I have been, what is the right word? I'm thinking. So I have been taken advantage. I've been taken for a ride for being empathetic, for being too empathetic. I think I was too empathetic on the other side and I've been taken for a ride. So don't let yourself too much. You empathize too much and then you become a fool. So I used to tell my dad, like, generosity does not belong to this generation. If you're too generous, then you're definitely considered a fool. It's not always a type, but most of the cases, unfortunately, this is the real scenario today. So be empathetic to yourself and others and be kind. Don't be too hard on yourself. So in that case, it'll definitely decrease your productivity. And the last one is very important for this generation, and we all feel intimidated or scared to be judged, to reach out and seek help. So everyone goes through a bad phase of life. Everyone goes through a tough phase of life. So it is a duty to protect your mental health. So that should be the foremost step that you take. This is a very significant point for today's age, where everybody looks at the phone, scrolls through their Instagram, Facebook or any other social media and tries to compare their life. A happy couple posing or kissing or going for a romantic dinner, but you never know what happens behind that photo. After they've clicked that picture, what happened? Or before that, what happened? Is it just posing for the picture? What is the reality? Reality is always different. So when you're feeling down, when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling you can't move on with this relationship, or when you want to break up, or when you're trying to overcome a breakup and move on, it is really your duty to reach out to the right people and seek help and clarity. Make sure you reach to the right people, because the people who guide you might not empathize with you. My life might be very different from your life, but I might be able to advise only based on my life. So keep that in mind and reach out to somebody who would be very neutral, who would be non-judgmental, who will not again put a pack on your back, a lump sum amount of burden to carry. You have enough burden to carry. Make sure you don't carry others' burden on your back. So these 5 strategies are my top 5 strategies that I have researched among the top successful people. The moment you start looking back, answering people for comments, and the fear of being judged is what will pull you down for this generation. So I think all these 5 tips will help you. To quickly summarize, do a self-audit and a self-check to understand your worth. Your self-worth is very, very important, and self-care is not selfish. I can't stop emphasizing this enough. Self-care is not selfish. And the second point is understanding your potential based on the resources that you have access to and the skill sets that you have at the moment. Prioritizing things and not focusing on getting distracted. Try to set a timer for 20 minutes, concentrate on one task at a time, shut down all the social media and your email and phones, and just focus on that particular Pomodoro technique, and I'm sure this will work. And fourth one is empathy and be kind to yourself and others so that you can have maximum productivity. If you're too harsh on yourself, it's just going to weigh you down and decrease your productivity. And the last one is reaching out and seeking help from people who have expertise in the field that you have an issue or you have struggled. So reach out to the right people and make sure 2020 is going to be huge. So to whomever I've spoken to, and I really have this vision, 2020 is going to be huge for all of us. It's going to be filled with positive vibes. I'm going to send you all positive vibes every day through my posts, through my videos, and through my words. So please make good choice of words when you converse with anyone, with your children or any children, especially because children tend to absorb words very much. And make sure, even when you write, have a good choice of words. Words carry power. So with that message, I'll leave you all. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn the notifications on. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.